right. So thanks for joining me again for the Salesforce Field Service Office Hours. We are here. I will share my screen. Wrong button. All right. So this is for field service experts or not so much experts and want to be an expert who want to get together and learn new features. And really the goal of this, I thought, was let's revisit what standing up field service end to end looked like now that we've got all these new features and capabilities available to us. So this is us learning the new features, bumping our heads against walls sometimes, but we're learning along the way. So Agentforce is on the agenda today. And I wanted to show you a cool package that the product team provided. Now, huge disclaimer here. This is a package that's available to partners to start testing out what this Agentforce appointment booking tool is going to look like when it's released GA, which is supposed to be soon. It could be any week now, any day now, but it's something that we can get used to. So what's cool about this package is it gives you some pre-built flows, topics. The instructions we have to do manually. So they give you like some script for that. So they put all of that content in this implementer's guide. And then they've got a video here. That's pretty cool that they went through and provided all of this. Now, when I was going through this and I got it to work, I was like, awesome. Now I want to make this externally facing so that a customer can use it. But this is where I'm stuck. So in my email, if there's anybody who is an expert in embedded messaging services or messaging and in-app guidance. Oh, here comes Mark. Hey, Mark, welcome. It says joining. Okay. We need those things. And we might even need an Omniflow to help, like when does the bot come in or when does the bot hand it off to the next agent? So you need all of these elements in order to have it externally facing. So the intention of this session is to just go through how do we set up the Agentforce. Let's test it internally. And then we'll see what happens over the week if I can get my act together and learn all these messaging services, because in my org, I have what I thought everything configured. But when I launched the community, I'm not seeing the chatbot or that little messaging icon so that I can start communicating with the bot. So a little bit of a learning curve there, but yeah, digging in. And as a result, I'm doing all the trailheads and focus on force is now back in action. So we're learning all of those capabilities. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through what this package does. So the very first thing is, because this is a fresh org, and I don't know where everybody's orgs are, but because it's a fresh org, we don't have anything turned on yet. Like Einstein's not turned on, Agentforce isn't turned on, like all those standard first 3 steps need to be enabled. So we have to go into Einstein setup to turn on Einstein. And then we have to enable the agents. So we'd have to go to Agent Studio and then Agents, and then we have to turn on Agentforce. There was something below it, I thought, that we had to enable. Let me just double check my org. So let me just flip back here. Yeah, so I turned on Agentforce here, and I turned on Enable Agentforce Default Agent here. So what was interesting is I've turned it on here, but then I don't know. Whoops, let's pull this up a little higher. I don't know what this is. Agentforce default. So it's inactive. But then when I activated it, I was getting some kind of weird behavior. So we can activate it and I can show you what I mean. But I had this thing turned on and I seem to be working okay. So I don't know exactly what this is. So we're going to pin this. Go ahead, Bruce.
Oh, yeah. So you notice the types that are there. So just because I've been doing the studying up on this, so your service agent that you made and whatever that service planner is, those are, I believe, like external facing agents you made for the purpose you're talking about right now. You made a service agent. This type employee one, I think that the old branding is Copilot. That's like light up Agentforce default in some internal window, and it has permissions like an internal user. I can help salesperson Joe do sale thing or look up cases for an internal person, summarize records and so forth. Agentforce default is like the Copilot. So what you're trying to spin up on a community external facing doesn't need it. I don't really think it conflicts with Agentforce default, but I think Agentforce default is the internal agent they make for you and store there in these new orgs.
Well, so we did turn this on and things were, anyways, we'll turn this on and see if this does anything, to Bruce's point, because it shouldn't do anything, but I had maybe a false positive earlier where I turned it on and my bot wasn't working anymore. But anyways, so those are the default initial setups that you have to do. The next thing you have to do is the permission sets. So there is a user that gets created. Where are you? Okay, so we're enabling the agents. This is the versioning of the package. So I'm just going to skip through that for a second. So there is a field service dispatcher permission set that we have to create. So I cloned the dispatcher permission set and I removed all of the Visualforce page access, which was not fun. There were a bunch of them and you have to like untick all the boxes manually. So just have your patience for that one. And then I removed all the appointment bundling policy object access. And then I assigned it to the Agentforce user. So let me show you what that permission set looks like. And I guess in my true fashion, I'm like a build it and then read the manual later to figure it out. I was supposed to create 2 permission sets. The second one was supposed to be for the additional objects, but I just created one and I just smushed it all together in one object. Let me just show you my manage assignment so you can see the user that got created. I don't remember. I think I created this. I don't think anything in this package creates the user. Let's just take a look and see what the created date was. So I ended up creating a user with the user license Einstein agent and the profile Einstein agent user. So I did not create the profile, but that could be because it was in a demo org. So you might need to create it in your own orgs, but the user license for sure, I had to create that.
Yeah. And what I've seen again in that the new dev org for Agentforce, when you're building the agent, it gives you a slot that says, hey, what user do you want to specify one or create new? When you choose create new, it ends up with a user that looks just like this. So you might have clicked that. Every new agent you make in that org, up to the number license, I guess you might be able to say, yes, make a new user, and it will end up like this, licensed that way.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I did it beforehand because of the way that this order of operations went down. So set up user, like it tells you how to do it. So I'm pretty sure I did it as part of my steps. Yeah. One thing that was interesting, again, for somebody who doesn't really love reading the manual, I was pretty explicit. Oh, I need Data Cloud and I need Appointment Assistant, but it doesn't, in order to get this to run, you don't need these permissions. So these ones, all the ones with the dashes, yes. The ones with the X, no. And we do need the permission set licenses. One is for Agentforce and then the field service dispatcher one. And then, of course, we still get this one. All right. So I assigned the permissions. I had to assign all of the object access. Let me just bring this back up to this. So all of the object access, I had to get, so not only this, read, create, edit, and read all, I also had to do modify all for service appointments and work orders because we are modifying the service appointment. So I didn't have the service appointment available, no, as modify all. And I was getting errors saying that you did insufficient access to the object. I don't know if we really need this in real implementations, but in order for me to get the bot to work for me, I had to choose modify all. I still don't know what AB agent metrics is. So if somebody knows, that would be awesome. Learning what that means.
Oh, I think
yeah.
I think in that document they said that's a custom object they made, and they even have fields.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think they said they didn't implement all of it yet. There's something about number of slots returned. Like they wanted to keep track of how good this thing is, so they made that object and they documented it in there.
I wonder if that's going to be part of GA. Like if that'll be part of whatever the product is, or is it just for this package? Good one. Thank you. Okay. So then I created my agent. So the agent is in Agent Studio, go to agents, and then I created a new one here. So Agentforce Service Agent. I'll just zoom in a little bit. I had to assign, did I have to assign all of these activities? I think I did. Okay, so one thing that this was turned on in the documentation, but I exit out because if you select this, it means that you need Data Cloud. So my org doesn't have Data Cloud, but you do not need Data Cloud in order to run this bot. But if you want event logs, you need Data Cloud. All right. So here's where I had to, under the appointment management topic, I had to edit the topic. So in my builder, this service agent didn't have anything. I think I had to create it. And I had to add all of these topics, I think. Do you remember adding the topics, Bruce? Did you get this far in this package?
No, again, I don't have an org that has field service along with this stuff.
Yeah.
I guess when you build a new agent and you go to add topic, if it was deactivated and you said new topic or whatever, there might be a small set of the library of them that you can add new from library. You gotta wait, it shows up, but they don't ever look exactly like what you're trying to get at or things for this package. So
So the topic did exist. It just didn't have any instructions in it. So I do remember not having to create a topic from scratch. And then, so I did have to add it from asset library. And I also don't remember adding any of these items. So it is possible that they were able to package up this scheduling agent and then just pulled these topics in. But I don't remember. I didn't add these. I only added this one by going new and adding from asset library and then searching for the booking here. So again, it's not very, maybe it is clear. Maybe they do say, but it does say configure agent topics. In here, I just copied and pasted all of the, like the description, the scope, and all of the instructions in here. You know what I think happened actually? I think I might have created, let's create a new agent. Yeah, service agent. I think it was it's like a template and it comes through in the service agent. That's why. That's what happened. And so it came with some pre-built stuff. And because the scheduling agent is not part of GA yet, it's not part of the library. So that's what happened. So they it wasn't, they weren't able to assign it as part of the template. So they were able to create it as an asset so that you can pull it in. I think that's what it was. Okay, so I updated all of these instructions and I didn't really scrutinize it very well, just like a copy paste. Some of the language is a little bit weird, but I'm going to go with it because I want to just see what it looks like out of the box. So let's go back to topic details. Topic actions. These had to be added as well. And so I had to add them from the asset library and I had to select all of the flows. So this to me was the awesome part. Okay. And that because creating all of these flows, this is where you break your brain a bit. So this will be all part of part of GA. Okay. I did a couple of things, but I'm going to just walk through the bot right now so that you can see how it works. So I'm going to just start chatting here. I need help with my Ready? Okay. So it jumped into the topic. Let's go into the topics. General FAQ. So that's cool. I don't know why it's not returning anything from knowledge. And that's going to be like another day problem. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to say, I think I need to replace it. Got it. Okay. So now it knows to go into the topic service appointment scheduling. Okay. So I'm going to open up the service appointment scheduling so that we can get into the actions so that I can show you how I modified some of these actions here. So here we go. Can we provide your email address? So that's part of contact ID. So I'll put in my email address here. And what I had to update here was I had to store the output and map it to the variable verified customer ID. I didn't have to create it. So that could have been part of the package that they created. All right. So now they're suggesting an address. How it knew that was because in this show address for confirmation, as an input, I put the verified customer ID. So because I mapped this, it was able to grab the address from that ID and I'll just say yes. So let's just scroll up here, right? So service appointment scheduling. So there's the get ID. And then here's the show address for confirmation. And that's how we got those two values. So the idea here now is to show some time slots. So it is, first it's getting the work type. So because I already called out the work type to be battery replacement, it already knew what to grab. So there's nothing that I changed in get work type. So I didn't map any variables here. Next, it's going to create the service appointment. And then it did two things. It created it and then retrieved the time slots. So what I want to show you here in the create service appointment is in the output, I created a variable and called it service appointment ID, and I mapped it. And then I also mapped the verified customer ID to the contact. So this contact ID would feed into the flow, and then the flow output service ID would then map the variable to the service appointment ID. So let's choose a slot. Let's go to 5 p.m. Actually, I want to change the date. I don't want it to be today. Can we do this next week, Monday? Let's see if this works. I was playing with this and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. So let's just see if it does. Sweet. Oh, yay. Okay, you're smart today. All right. So this service appointment scheduling is showing for next week, Monday. I'm going to choose 9 a.m. Yeah. So it's showing 3 slots with this exact format. Okay. Once a client confirms a slot, finalize the appointment and send a confirmation message. Okay, let's just through. Okay, cool. So now that it's done that, actually, let me just show you what I did for time slots too. Where did time slots go? Okay, so retrieve time slots. Right, I showed you that we did not do anything for time slots, did I? Yeah, I didn't map the service ID and I didn't map time slots. So I don't know why I didn't have to map the service appointment ID, but it seemed to have worked. We can play and show what it looks like when you map it and when you don't map it. And then the update. So here's the update. I did map the service appointment here. So I mapped the service appointment here. And then it says that it got scheduled. So the last one is scheduled service. So this scheduled service appointment. So the update is actually just updating the arrival window to map the 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So that's what the update's doing. And then the schedule service is a flow that will, so I did set the service appointment here. And I'll show you what it did in the dispatcher console for the 8th. Show me the money. Oh, the date was wrong. It said Monday. Oh, it is Tuesday. Yeah. So it will be Tuesday the 8th. Show me the money. Uh-oh. Did you not schedule it? I'm going to maybe refresh it.
Did it create the appointment?
And Mark, you're really quiet. Can you say that again?
Should it create the appointment?
So it's going to create the appointment. So this is the appointment and it's going to call the scheduling service. Oh, service appointment details. No.
Can you
Okay,
see
hold
if
on.
it
Let's
created
just,
this appointment? Like in
yes,
appointment list?
it is supposed to. So let's grab the ID. Yeah, it didn't schedule it. So I don't know why.
Let's drag and drop and see what happens.
Yep. 338. It probably would have gone to Matthew Parker, not this guy. Because it's been scheduling to Matthew Parker.
It says invalid dates, start and finish. Oh, it's still loading.
Oh yeah, that's why, yeah. It totally worked 3 times in a row. And then, of course, on the vote day, it doesn't. Okay, so it would normally send it to Matthew Parker. So let me just bring it to him. And it probably will give me a validation rule because it's 9 o'clock. So that's going to be a problem, I think.
Is it the same logic policy?
Yeah, it's customer first. So let's go into there was something in this, right? So the fact that in the schedule service, there wasn't details here before, right? Wasn't it just 2 things like no, and then now it's here?
That's correct.
Yeah.
But you
so
still have a
now-
status of null.
Yes, but okay, so here's the flow. Okay, so I'll show you what the flow looks like. So we're getting the customer first policy, and we're calling the schedule service action, and it's pulling the record ID of customer first, of the policy that it retrieved from get policy. And then it's pulling in the service appointment, which should have been the input of the schedule service of this guy.
So I have a theory. It's not getting the appointment after it does the scheduling operation on it. So that status null, it might be
Before.
the variable in the flow hasn't seen it. But did you see that in your flow, there is that custom object? Do we have that AB record sitting anywhere? If you look at the flow again.
Okay, let's look. That flow, yeah.
So that guy, like that's trying to work with their AB agent metric. Did it do that part?
I'm not sure.
Can we debug it? Can we debug this flow?
Yep. Do you think I really need the session ID?
Might be how it's going to try and derive contact or any other inbound stuff, but if Paula has an appointment, could do something.
There was also something that I was playing with, right? So I was always like, do we map this or do we not map it? So you'll see in down here, like they tell you which actions to add, and that's it. So try it. So they broke down all of the hold on. Yeah. So here's all the flow detail. So for this particular one, like I mapped it to like this in red are my notes on what I did for the topic actions and how I mapped it. Now, in their flow, this service territory ID was hard coded. So that was the first error that I had. So I had to replace that territory ID. And then I also set the action output variable. So some of these things, I had to create a variable and set it for the service appointment ID. But then I kept playing with, do I set the service appointment ID or not? Like I kept playing while putting it and taking it out. And what does it look like? So I do wonder if, I don't know, maybe I want to try it one more time. So like maybe there was just something glitchy. So let's just So while it is cool that we have these packages, it still takes a little bit of time to set it up, configure it, test it. And the amount of times that we're going to have to test it in order to get the right result, I don't even know what that right number is.
And then you can't forget the basics. Do I have someone available then? Did the time zone come out right? Is the territory ID correct? And I think the new thing you get into, even if you think about geocoding, right? That happens asynchronously on the platform. Somewhere in here, there are things that happen and then wait for other things to happen, or happen, then engage again. Can we, and we know the service appointment is a heavy object, lots of things going on. Sometimes you like to belay stuff onto an async process, update this after that, or some things like the work type or the account get set on these SA async, and you're out of control of that. How do we know the agent will pick up after all the sensible information is on the SA? You know, that you might sit there banging your head at the screen for a good long time about.
That's true. Yeah.
And do we have to shovel stuff all back into immediate updates? If the flows, and I think the fact that you're handing off all these variables back and forth in the agent is a big part of how these are architected. There are lots of little nibbles and bites, these flows.
That's true.
That do you have to stop thinking in these monoliths and go, here's a little prayer. Did it get answered?
Yeah.
Here's a little prayer. Did it get answered? And really know what the life cycle of this thing is as it's being trucked around with the agent.
It's true. So here's what I think went wrong the last time, because this is the result that you get, right? When it is scheduled, you get the technician's name. So it will go to the right spot. My hypothesis is that I don't have the flow updating the due date. Yes. So it didn't get scheduled because the arrival window was after the due date. So we would have to update the update flow to say if the arrival window is like basically set the due date to be a day after the arrival window.
So where is it getting the due date now? Is that from the work type, or is it something in the flows that just says make it 3 days from now? Yeah. So you're going to be stuck doing anything more than 5 days out or something if that their flows are.
Exactly.
And maybe they tried to keep it down to reduce the number of slots coming back.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you change it to 15 or 50, maybe you get away with it, but maybe you also overload things.
Yep. So here's the SLA due date, which is a field that they've created. It's a formula field, formatted due date, work type SLA due date. So it does look like it's only 5 days from earliest start, and earliest start is defined as now.
Why doesn't it work with the logic policy then? I'm missing that.
That's a good question. I don't know why they decided to do that. Maybe it's to what Bruce was saying, like maybe they were just trying to reduce the data set. But yeah, you're right.
That's overcomplicated. We have enough headaches to make things work.
Totally. But again, this was just, I guess, an idea. So do we need to have this populated? Maybe not. Maybe we don't need to override this. So just some things that could be modified or preset. So if this is something that's going to be included as part of out of the box, like maybe it's not. Would they do that? I don't know. You're right. This does seem to be overcomplicating it, but yeah. So a lot to unpack in these flows. So as generous as that is to have these flows, there are some constraints. So now also having said that, we would probably want to build an instruction that would say, if it's April 8th, then say, it should only be within 5 days from today or something like that. Or just update the dates, right? If they really want to keep it constrained, then we need to update our flow to reset the arrival window start and end. Or reset the due date to align to the arrival window start and end, whatever was selected. So, yeah. Because it does look like they're updating it again anyways. So if they're updating the arrival window, we might as well just ensure that the due date is a day after or something like that. As part of this flow, we would just need to update the time. Yeah.
Yeah, or you could update the earliest start to be
That's a good one too.
to be the day that you picked.
That's a good one too, because we wouldn't want to accidentally reschedule it. But what's cool, actually, oh, here comes somebody. Yeah, because then that would reduce if they did need to open up the slots again, because they did say the 8th. So why would we want the earliest start date to be the 1st? But yeah. What was interesting when we first got this built, the flow, the scheduling flow, where's that at? Oh, did I close it? Maybe it's this one? No. And they set their policy to be emergency. So I was like, oh, that sucks, because it was this one. I'll show you this very first one that we created here. I think it was this one. Arrival. Okay. So the arrival window is 1 p.m., but the scheduled start is 9. Like, why would you use the emergency policy if you're setting the arrival window? So that to me didn't make sense. Although this is maybe them saying just pick any time, because we want to make sure that this appointment gets scheduled and we don't want to bump up against unavailability because somebody picked a slot. But I don't know. I haven't tested a full schedule yet.
Yeah, or like they wanted a really forgiving policy that was just going to get them results and not work in the murky corners. We like to.
Exactly. So now, yeah, so this is happy path. It works. So now, how do I test unhappy path? So do I just give only Matthew Parker had the replace battery skill? Give him like a week of unavailability and then see how the bot responds to that, right? So that would be a really good test to try next. Another one would be, yeah, I guess that would be the first unhappy path. I can think of another one right now.
Something out of scope.
Sorry?
Something out of scope for the AI.
Perfect. Yeah. So it's, let's just say we only had replace battery and they wanted to do like an installation, but I don't have anybody to do installation. Yeah, that's a good one. Something out of scope. Yep. That would be good to test. What I really would love is having this agent have access to all of these topics. I think is pretty cool, right? If there's a delivery issue, if there's a case, like it can handle all of these things. And then another task that it can perform is a service appointment booking. So I think that's nice. It's like an all-encompassing agent, service agent.
So the way this one is, it won't ever escalate to a dispatcher or a scheduler.
Okay. So now, perfect. Okay. So the agent, let's just say, is perfect. And we've tested all of the unhappy paths. Now, how do we make it available? Okay. Yes. So all of that, there is in this agent, we've got connections. So we have inbound omnichannel flows and we have outbound omnichannel flows. So you would have to create an omnichannel flow to route to a particular live agent. So that would have to be part of the implementation and the solution that you're looking to build. So in order to have any kind of handoffs, we would need an omnichannel flow. Then the next piece would be embedded service deployments. So I was trying to see what creating an embedded service deployment looked like. So I tried twice. I didn't really know exactly what to do here. So I'm just learning this piece. So again, if anybody knows how to do this, that would be awesome. All I know is that I can check the boxes. I can set the business hours. And then we could enable a chat, which is cool. I haven't even begun to explore that. And then there's supposed to be this chat code snippet, but I'm not sure exactly where to put this. And in the community, like I had an idea, but again, it still didn't really show up. And then I also had a messaging channel, a messaging setting, and I created this. And I don't know exactly what I need to do here, but I did create it. What's interesting about this is where you can, like, when you end the conversation, you can add a survey. Yeah, I haven't really dug too deep into this one. And then when you have a site, oh, hello. Okay, something that I didn't know existed. These digital experience sites get created every single time you create an embedded, what is it called? An embedded,
Service.
yes, an embedded service. So every time you have an embedded service, one of these get created. I didn't know that. I never know what to do with it. But so for example, in this professional builder, I do have messaging, embedded messaging added on this page. And I have set it to the new thought that I created, which is down here. So embedded messaging is here. I've got booking bot. I've got these ones. So something must be right if they're available. So I said that it should always be visible. The business hours were set. Let's just validate that the business hours were set on this booking bot one. Yeah, 24/7. But for some reason, so I thought, okay, I'll just try it in incognito window. And oh my God. Lovely. Thank you, demo gods.
Woo.
But will it work? I don't know.
So could it? I don't think you were in incognito last time.
So no, I wasn't in incognito, but I
All
did
right.
log in as a person.
That's true.
Earlier I did, but this is now not working. I don't actually know if this is okay. I'm going to show you something that happened to me. This might be an edge thing. Yeah, I'm going to show you something. Don't I normally get a friend that pops up here? Yes. Okay. I think there's something wrong with my computer. Because I get this.
Just dead chat window. Yeah, I wonder if there's some IT stuff going on.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. So I can't even believe that this little thing popped up. Like, I am the happiest kid right now. It popped up. Oh my God. It exists. So I'm one step closer. So whatever we all just did together, thank you for the positive juju. And then so maybe I'll just try this in a Chrome window. Maybe it's like a browser thing. Okay, show me the money. Oh my God, I have a chat window. I can't even believe it. No, it could be, I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know if it's the machine or what. So we'll dig in a little bit more and see what this is. I might just need to do like a full browser refresh or something. Who knows?
Have Edge on your computer?
Yeah, I'm on Edge. So this is Chrome, and
This is
then I
it.
do have Edge. Yeah, I'm normally in Edge, which is weird, but isn't it better? I feel weird
Yeah, a couple
saying that
years ago, it
Microsoft Edge
became
is way better. Yeah, I know. Some people judge us for that, but it's way better.
It is.
So
It is.
I do think that maybe I just like clear my cookies or something. I don't know what, but
When was the last time you rebooted?
oh, just before this call, because I thought somebody might
Okay.
ask me that question. But
Okay.
I think it's the cookies. I haven't reset my browser settings.
Well, I don't know. I don't like resetting my cookies because all my stuff is there, which is convenient.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I have it here. So that's pretty cool. So I do want to play with this further, play with the chatbot. At least it's showing. And then also set up some OmniFlows, because I was talking to Bruce about it. Is this even really part of an MVP? And he was saying, yes, it's table stakes, right? What does a customer expect when they have a chat? They want their problem solved, right? So if they can't get it solved at level 1 with the bot, then level 2 should be hand over to an agent, whether it's on the phone or it's a live chat person chatting with you. So I get it, table stakes. So mastering OmniFlow sounds like it's got to be part of our tool belt as field service implementers and consultants. So time to dig in.
Yeah. And if you're cranky like me, you try to skip most of the chat stuff anyway.
How do you?
Just making it to the person, depending on what it is.
Give me a person. Give me a human. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, there you go. So table stakes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So much for that. Trying to cut corners here. There's no cutting corners when it comes to customer service. You got to think all the way through. Anybody have any questions, comments, things you want to try? We can now break the bot now that we know that it works. If you want to see what breaking the bot looked like, I'll show you. There was a couple of things that I wanted to see, but if anybody has any comments, go ahead.
So where can you troubleshoot this experience page? How do you?
Oh, the experience page?
Yeah. Like, how can we see get a picture of why your chat's not working or what?
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. So my style, Melissa, and I just finished telling Bruce, I flail around. Like, I'll try one thing and then it doesn't work. I'll try another thing and it doesn't work. Sometimes, so now what I've been starting to do in my flailing is I would just do one thing only and then change it. Okay, so it wasn't that. So then I'll undo that, try another thing, because I want to know and pinpoint exactly what it was. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I think what happened here and why it started to show up was under advanced, under edit header markup. I in some documentation, which again, this is one of the reasons why I hate documentation, is I probably read the wrong documentation for the wrong feature. And in the embedded chat, like I installed this code snippet. I put this in here. I was like, oh, maybe it needs to go in here. And so maybe that's what it was. So just before I met up with you guys, I deleted that and I was like, let me just undo a whole bunch of stuff, because Bruce and I were troubleshooting and we were like, where do we think it could be? So one thing that we've done also is we went to inspect, and there was something under issues that we saw. Oh no, under console. This is hard to see because it's
I-
dark.
I think meaningfully when you were looking at this before, there was one thing we saw deep down here in the console was like there was a dupe, like you're working from a template that existed.
Yeah.
And I think the community doesn't like multiple messaging components on the same page. And there might have been one sticking in there from some other feature they implemented on this experience site that you didn't roll up. I think an interesting thing about the where to troubleshoot, though, the agent itself does have those event logs. And you said you didn't spin up Data Cloud, but you are getting event logs on the agent. And that's where we saw that invalid action. So I think
This? Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean?
so.
These
Here,
things?
those are little event logs. Like I know you got a lot of zeros there,
But
but wherever
What's
your
the difference between those event logs and this enrich event log? Okay, this is with the conversation data. So I have an event log, but I don't have the related conversation that went with the log.
maybe that's where it's like dropping out the PII or something. But yeah, okay. So you have event logs, and that's where I know there's a bunch of zeros, but if you page and like your buttons at the bottom or see one that is maybe by duration, I don't know. But what we saw earlier, there was something that was like, oh, invalid like action that when you click on this, it shows you this sort of set of utterances in order. And if you click the radio button next to one that either looks good, bad, or otherwise, it shows you some of the data on the right. So you might see, and there's this whole testing center too for Agentforce where you can get a CSV template out of it and upload it with, I said, my name is Bob and I want to fix my battery and I want it Saturday. And it'll go pass fail on these big batch tests you do. But you can watch here, what did it do in what order? I know the question was about how do you troubleshoot the chat experience on the community, but the whole new world, this Agentforce stuff, it is putting all these, every conversation you have with it, it's putting them at your fingertips to then dig into and go, I know you're using your creativity to say, what should I do next? I expected it when I said my name or my email for it to go match a record. And if it didn't, you can drill into these and go, what did it do next?
Yeah.
Maybe why.
So this is going to give you, this without the conversation data is going to kind of give you what it's doing without what you input. Is that kind of
I think so. Yeah. It's a little bit like while you were watching it in the builder and you saw the stuff in the middle of the screen, this is sort of like a lo-fi replay of that.
Okay.
I found the one with that we had the error because there was an event type and it said Copilot action like failure or action failure or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it then it was, I think it must have been on the second page.
Yeah, try that 2-minute one. I don't know why that's negative.
This 204?
Yeah, maybe.
I thought that's what I was just on, but let's just see. That's okay. We'll take a look and see. It was one of these bottom ones. Yeah, we actually had a failure. This was the one that I had yesterday where I was like, it worked, but then I tested it this morning and then I was like, oh, for some reason it's not working. So it was one of these earlier ones. So it might have been this one. Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one first. When did we get on the phone together? Is this Pacific time? I think this is Pacific time. It's like a needle in a haystack. How am I going to find it? I have to just keep opening every single one.
Can you put more columns there?
I don't think so.
Or sort them by the duration. Is that table sorted?
I can sort by duration, yeah, but I did want to just go through one thing here. This mapping of the topic actions I thought would be pretty important. But I'm going to just use the last couple of minutes here to just do this because I thought it was really interesting to see the difference. So if I don't map the verified contact ID here, and if I don't map the show address for the verified customer ID, I'm going to just show you what the experience is. So the response is, okay, give me your address. Oh, what the hell? That's totally not what I was expecting.
It's making a liar out of you.
Yeah, it's like smart enough already. That's interesting because I was like, I had to confirm that because I was getting messages that said, okay, can you confirm your address? Can you write your address? I was like, okay, interesting. Okay.
Huh.
That was one test, but those were the things that I was testing. What happens if I map the address? Oh, there we go. I bet you something might have happened. Let's just refresh it and let's do it one more time.
What if you write it with mistakes? What will happen?
So
Spelling
it depends
mistakes.
on the mistake. Like I have spelled battery with batter. My email address, it doesn't find the email address.
Oh,
A
that's
typo like that
given.
wouldn't work. Yeah. But yeah, it still has the address. Yes, weird. And Bruce and I were seeing some other weird behavior, like it would start to show the message, but then and after. Yeah. So there's something here, right? When trying to retrieve the slot. So there is something about needing to map the values. Contact ID.
Yeah, it's almost like
And then
without
get
passing the variable around in context of the chat. It's, yeah, and what's your name again? And what's your name again?
Yeah.
And what's your name again? Yeah, so you've given it little bits and pieces to do. It's like the hot potato. This flow returns something valuable. You grab it and do something else with it, pass it on down the line. And like I was saying about async stuff, if something happened, that record still exists and you look at it a second from now, is it going to have more data, better data, something that's workable? I'm sure if we got into geocoding and territory stuff, there might be something a little slippery that you have to say, no, really, go back and look again.
So if you're interested in trying this out, you would need a sales demo org. Send me an email if that's something that you're interested in. There's like a whole learning curve on the service sale, the demo orgs. So you'd have to proceed with caution. But if you are interested, let me know. And yeah, we'll be in touch. We are at the hour. So I wanted to make sure I was respectful of everybody's time. And I'll see you all next week.
Thank you, Leanne.
Sounds good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Leanne.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.